Let's get it started. We got MCU theory: how Doctor Doom becomes God Emperor in Secret Wars. Check it out.
What's up, my comic comrades? With Doctor Doom finally being teased in the MCU, it's time we gave our theories for what could potentially happen in Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars. There's a lot of ways this thing could go, and the comics do give us some hints of where they may be pulling from. So sit back, relax, and let's theorize where the future of the MCU and Marvel Studios might be headed. Now, I do want to give a spoiler warning because starting now, I'm going to mention things that may be spoilers if you haven't seen Fantastic Four. With that said, Doctor Doom briefly appeared in the post-credit scene of Fantastic Four First Steps, where he's seen kneeling down before a toddler Franklin Richards, seemingly there to kidnap him. Now, if you're not aware, in the comic books, Franklin Richards is one of the most powerful beings in all the Marvel Universe. We actually just did a full breakdown on his history and just how powerful he is in this episode right here. But the summary of it is, he can create entire galaxies in the palm of his hands. In Heroes Reborn, he created an entire pocket universe to protect the heroes after the Onslaught event. And in Fantastic Four 585, Galactus, the Devourer of Worlds, told Reed Richards that he's scared of his son, that he feared him, to be exact. Let me tell you something, Galactus isn't scared of anything, so for him to say he fears Franklin Richards tells you a whole lot. And it makes sense that Galactus fears him because in Fantastic Four 604, a super celestial killed Galactus, and an adult Franklin Richards shows up, brings him back to life, and uses him as his herald.
Crazy,
yeah,
bro.
Fantastic Four First Steps wasn't lying. Franklin Richards has the power to bring people back to life, like we saw him do to his mom in the movie, and Galactus and others in comics. Point is, Franklin Richards is incredibly powerful, and because he's so powerful, Doctor Doom in the MCU probably wants to use him for his plans to take over the multiverse. And we know this is probably the case because this too has happened in the comic books. Doctor Doom on more than one occasion has tried to use Franklin and his powers for his own ambitions. I mean, it was hinted throughout the John Byrne's Fantastic Four run that Doom is very well aware of Franklin's growing powers and potential. Even in the Fantastic Four Unthinkable storyline, Doctor Doom kidnapped Franklin Richards, sending him to hell as part of his plan to gain more magical power. So like I said a moment ago, there's several instances in the comic books where Doom kidnaps, exploits, and just plain uses Franklin's abilities for his own gain. But we know the Avengers movie after Doomsday is called Avengers Secret Wars. And we also know there's several Secret Wars storylines and comic books. The original 1984 series written by Jim Shooter, the follow-up in 1995 Secret Wars 2, also written by Jim Shooter, and the most current one, the 2015 Secret Wars by Jonathan Hickman. But if I was a betting man, I would put my money that they are going to be heavily pulling from Jonathan Hickman's 2015 Secret Wars. It seems like a lot of the MCU is going to be pulling from Hickman's stuff, as he's one of the most prolific modern Marvel writers, having iconic runs on Fantastic Four, the Avengers, the New Avengers, the X-Men, Ultimate Spider-Man, and more. All teams and characters that are now being heavily focused on for the MCU's present and future. So that's reason enough to assume that they're going to pull from the Hickman stuff. But if you read the 2015 Secret Wars, you know it lines up almost seamlessly with the teasers they've been giving us and rumors that are around the MCU's future. You see, in the 2015 Secret Wars, Doctor Doom steals the powers of not a Beyonder, but the Beyonders, with the help of Molecule Man, effectively becoming God Emperor Doom. Now having omnipotent power, Doom salvages the remains of various realities or planets and puts them together to create Battleworld ruled by himself. Effectively, Doctor Doom needed Molecule Man to become God Emperor Doom and or create Battleworld. So one theory could be that the MCU is effectively replacing Molecule Man with Franklin Richards, and that's why Doctor Doom needs him, which would be why we see him with toddler Franklin Richards in the post-credit scene of Fantastic Four First Steps. Maybe Doom is after the kid for the same reason that Galactus was, to get his hands on that cosmic power. Doom very well could have seen that Galactus was after Franklin, figured out that Galactus wanted Franklin to be his replacement and or cure his insatiable hunger for worlds, and then realized that Franklin must possess extreme cosmic power and significance if he's that important to Galactus. This then causes Doom to see Franklin as a means to achieve his goal to protect the world at any cost, and use the Fantastic Four's failure as justification to step in as supreme ruler / protector. That may then escalate into domination of the multiverse or recreating it in his own image entirely, for everyone's safety, of course. We all know Doom is extremely intellectually arrogant. He is one of the smartest minds in Marvel, but because of his arrogance, he likely believes that only he can understand how to effectively use Franklin's immense abilities and untapped potential to make things right in the multiverse. Because at the very core of Doctor Doom, he actually sees himself as a savior, not a villain. So we may very well believe that he is uniquely qualified to use Franklin's powers to prevent the destruction of the universe from the likes of Galactus, Thanos, all these incredibly powerful villains who've tried their own ways of fixing or tearing down the universe. In short, new mask, same task, because Tony Stark's primary obsession was how to protect the world against enormously powerful multiversal threats. And that could be the same motivation of RDJ's Doctor Doom, with a more tyrannical twist, which would be pretty awesome. Speaking of awesome, do you own your own business or maybe help with hiring at your job? Ever notice how it's skilled candidates for you that recruiter message to integrate over 3 dates, gets the out of 5 inclusive /starts or amplifies the multiversal incursions we've already seen in the MCU, like in the Marvels. For those of you who may not know, incursions are essentially collisions of universes that causes them to collapse. But here's the thing, we also have a rumor of Chris Evans returning as Hydra Cap. So maybe Doom is also gathering other people and not just Franklin Richards to help them on his quest for universal dominance. Maybe he's gathering a cabal of variants or characters we've already known to help him fight the 616 Avengers. He just so happens to pull a Hydra Cap to face Sam Wilson Cap. He could also be using this army he's gathered to hold off the TVA's multiverse defense forces. Essentially having Franklin and then gathering evil variants, he could manipulate and do whatever he wants. I mean, we're talking about using magic, illusions, tech to do all kinds of things. Even his physical appearance looking like 616 Tony Stark to manipulate characters like Spider-Man, appearing like his mentor. I feel like it's almost a guarantee that the fact that he resembles 616 Stark means he's going to exploit that emotional bond. Doom could probably use his resemblance of Tony to drop other heroes' guard, most likely Spider-Man, so that they fight alongside him. Who knows? I almost feel like Avengers Doomsday is going to be the setup, the Infinity War, if you will, where Doom gathers his assets, putting his pieces in play, using Franklin to cause incursions to ultimately create Battleworld, and by the end of the film, while simultaneously gathering evil variants to get all of Earth's heroes on Battleworld. The very premise of Avengers Doomsday could be Doom pruning anchor beans to destroy universes, or using Franklin to do this, which would make the heroes not know which variant to trust or where the hell Doom is going to strike next. We also know that Spider-Man Brand New Day is the last standalone MCU film before Doomsday. And yet again, Robert Downey Jr. is playing Doomsday, meaning he's going to look just like Tony. So what if a big part of the movie is manipulating Spider-Man for emotional leverage? Spider-Man is Marvel's most popular character, so it makes sense to finally make him a center point of an Avengers film. And having Doom exploit the emotional leverage of Spidey seeing the face of his once mentor and father figure would be brilliant writing. All while the Avengers and Earth's mightiest heroes are fighting off Doom's bots, because you know they gotta be in this movie, or the variant army he's gathered, while the Avengers are just trying to retrieve Franklin, as he's going to be the key to it all. Basically, by the end of Avengers Doomsday, Doom has succeeded much like Thanos at the end of Infinity War. So the movie ends with Doom collapsing universes into Battleworld, with the 616 Earth now under his rule. And of course, the Avengers, the X-Men, Fantastic Four are all hopeless and scattered, which all leads into the Secret Wars Avengers film, where they ultimately overthrow God Emperor Doom. Now, Avengers Secret Wars would be the hero's Hail Mary, and this is where we get versions of live-action Marvel characters we haven't seen in years to help fight off God Emperor Doom. I'm talking about Ben Affleck Daredevil, Eric Banner Hulk, the return of Wesley Snipes Blade once again because he was badass in Deadpool and Wolverine, the OG Fantastic Four, not just Chris Evans Human Torch, just every character you could think of, as Marvel would just throw the entire kitchen sink at it. And ultimately, just like in the 2015 Secret Wars comics, Franklin is used to restore reality as it once was. But I mean, there's a lot of different variations they could do with this, because another way they could go is that Doom could wipe out all the heroes in the 616 MC reality, and Franklin Richards brings them back or saves them, much like he did in the Heroes Reborn storyline. Except in this case, Doom would essentially take the place of Onslaught. I mean, this wouldn't be shocking at all if this is the direction they went, as the MCU is known for taking iconic storylines and giving their own spin on it. And this would certainly be that. And another thing we can't forget is what Loki's role is going to be. As of season 2 of Loki, he's become the god of stories, or the guardian of the multiverse, if you will. So what if, yet again, Doctor Doom needs Franklin Richards to be able to combat Loki, so that Doom can then control Loki's newfound power and use it to destabilize all of reality and or every single timeline. The short of it is, with Loki's new role in the MCU and multiverse, that makes him a prime target, probably the #1 target for Doctor Doom, who obviously wants ultimate cosmic authority over everything. Essentially, Loki's role is now extremely significant, and he could be the linchpin around what Doom's plan is. So again, I think it's very likely that Doctor Doom is racing to control Loki, or at least use his power, because if he can, then he literally controls the multiverse. But if you're gonna go up against someone like Loki, who's the guardian of time, stabilizing all the timelines, you're gonna need someone like Franklin Richards to help you. Now, here's the thing though, when we see Loki again in Doomsday, we don't know how long it's gonna be since the last time we saw him. So we don't know what his mindset's gonna be now that he's in charge of holding together the multiverse. So has he changed since then? Is he still heroic? Is he now gonna be cynical? All that's gonna be very important to how this plays out. Now, going back to the Chris Evans versions of Captain America, Steve Rogers, he is rumored to be returning as well. And a lot of people are thinking he's gonna be returning as Hydra Cap, the evil alternate version of Captain America, teaming up with Dr. Doom, being his right hand. And again, this would make perfect sense since they're bringing back RDJ as a villain. You would think they're also going to bring back Chris Evans as a villain, as Captain America and Iron Man were the two pillars of the first 10 years of the MCU. Lastly, this isn't a theory, just something we all really want to see, is for God Emperor Doom, which we know Doom will eventually become in the MCU based on leaked concept art. We want to see him completely obliterate an alternate version of Thanos with one hand, much like he did in the 2015 Secret Wars comic. There is nothing that would more quickly establish just how OP he is than that. And it could be the most insane moment in MCU history if done right. And with Avengers Doomsday very likely heavily mirroring the Secret Wars story from 2015, it could happen. Do it, Russos. Just do it. But now it's your turn. What theories do you guys have on how this could go in Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars? Because there are a few directions they could take, so let us know your thoughts down in the...
Let's see. That's gonna be it for watching. Like, subscribe.